Hey everyone, thank you so much for tuning into this video. For those of you that don't know, my name is Bintu, and on this channel I talk about everything related to trends in pop culture, where they're going, where they came from, and everything in between. So if you like these kinds of videos, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what other topics you'd like me to do. For today's video, I'm going to be talking about everything related to the Juicy tracksuit. And at the end, we're going to talk about whether or not a comeback is on the rise, because in the past few years, I'm sure you guys have seen velour tracksuits coming up. So definitely stay tuned for the entire video. Without further ado, let's get into this video. Alright, so following the 1991 recession, consumers had begun to recover financially, and they were able to splurge once again on luxury items. Two women by the names of Jelena Taylor and Pamela Sky-Sleevey jumped on this opportunity, creating a brand that would eventually convey luxury to women across the world. So although Juicy Couture launched in 1995, a time of significant economic prosperity, it wasn't until 2001 that the iconic Juicy tracksuit came out. Priced at $155, these tracksuits were by no means cheap, but they were affordable among the masses. So as a result, they were often seen being worn by celebrities because they still had that luxury element to them, but they were also super popular among teenage girls everywhere, and I mean everywhere. So their marketing strategy was simple, and one we know all too well now in the world of influencer culture. They gifted celebrities. And of course, one of the celebrities that they ended up gifting was none other than Paris Hilton.
Let's talk about the Juicy Couture tracksuit.
So at this time, Paris Hilton was already known for her unique sense of style, which is no surprise to anyone, I'm sure.
Now let's go check out my real closet.
Characterized by lots of pink and even more bling and glitter. Later, she'd go on to say in an interview that two of her major style icons at that time were Kate Moss and Victoria Beckham. Hilton made comfort look stylish, and she was often seen photographed donning the Juicy tracksuit, even claiming to own up to 100 of them in every single color. And she wore that thing everywhere. Hilton's also mentioned how she uses fashion as a way of expressing her dumb blonde party girl persona that she gave herself, and people close to her, like her mom for instance, claimed that it seemed like Hilton used this manufactured image to shield her true self from the world.
Just watching and seeing her today, all the rhinestones, all the costumes she's attracted to. It's like a little Disney child. I don't know, it's like a shield or a cover. And the mask is sometimes putting up the stupid persona or the voice.
Which is completely understandable and not all that surprising considering just how famous Hilton was in the early 2000s. Author Rachel Syme of The New Yorker had this to say about Hilton. She grinned like a Cheshire cat for the paparazzi in her hot pink tracksuit because she already knew something that many people didn't, that the concept of celebrity in the digital era was shifting, and that the new aristocracy would be determined not by talent or tastefulness, but by the ability to exploit attention, which obviously, welcome to 2020, we see everywhere. Though many would accredit Hilton as the forerunner of the so-called Juicy effect, many other celebrities and notable figures soon followed suit. Celebrities like Lindsay Lohan, Jennifer Lopez, Beyonce, Mariah Carey, and Britney Spears were all seen throughout the early and mid-2000s rocking their Juicy too. It was also seen by Disney stars Miley Cyrus and Vanessa Hudgens in the late 2000s for the most part. And another important thing to note is the emergence of tabloid news outlets also significantly shifted in the early 2000s, going on to around the mid 2000s. News outlets such as US Weekly, In Touch, Life and Style, along with TMZ, gave access to regular people into the more private and less glamorous side of celebrities like we've never seen before. So for example, we would often see celebrities on the street getting completely bombarded wearing super casual, laid-back clothes, whether it's them coming out of an airport or whatever else. At the end of the day, celebrities are normal people just like us. At this time, reality TV shows also became extremely popular as well. We had shows like The Simple Life,
It stepped on me too on my stomach,
Desperate Housewives, Newlyweds, and Laguna Beach that all further shone a light on the emergence of pop culture, celebrity, and like loungewear in casual spaces and casual settings like we've never really seen before. However, the recession of 2008 marked the beginning of the end of an era. Flashy branding no longer resonated with consumers like it did before, and people began moving towards minimalism when it came to their purchases, often going to fast fashion outlets like Zara and H&M for style options. To make matters worse, it also didn't help that in the same year, Juicy launched a campaign they called Let Them Eat Tracksuits, and company sales started to plummet after reaching a record high of $605 million in 2008, and the company ended up selling for only $195 million in 2013. The following year, all US stores ended up closing. And going into the 2010s, the emergence of social media and fast fashion became the inevitable nail in the coffin. As Terry Whean of Vox Media explained, the rise of influencer culture and marketing has opened up a niche for fast fashion brands to flourish. Thanks to social media's constantly evolving, visually driven nature, brands have developed a symbiotic relationship with popular celebrities and influencers who have the ability to turn anything and everything they wear into an instant trend. As a result, fast fashion brands have began to thrive, and the trend cycle has become much shorter than it once was. Although Juicy began to fall out of popularity around circa 2009, it has come back up from time to time, especially in recent years. For instance, in 2017, Vetements, a luxury clothing brand and design collective, came out with a Juicy collaboration which featured reworked pieces that ended up being worn by the likes of Kylie Jenner and Rihanna. Then, the following year in 2018, fast fashion e-commerce brand Boohoo launched a collab with none other than Paris Hilton herself. So fast forward to 2020, let's talk about what's going on with Juicy right now as a trend. Timothée Chalamet debuted a pink Juicy tracksuit on his GQ spread, and it went absolutely viral. And in my view, it possibly signaled a new era for the brand as well that speaks more to today's values of inclusivity as opposed to questionable values of the early 2000s, at least as far as body positivity goes. And I say this because the brand did thrive during a time period that was heavily engulfed in diet culture.
Anna, how did you do it?
Trispa, baby.
And it was socially acceptable for a brand to be very exclusive and design pieces skewed small and pretty much only meant for people that had the quote-unquote ideal body type of the time. So we're talking Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, and even in the 90s when the founders were first designing Juicy, that was during the so-called hair chic look. So Kate Moss, for instance, was the ideal body type back then. Very, very, very slim, very skinny. As a result, they've had to make some style adjustments to adhere to today's fashion standards, which we see definitely when it comes to their collaborations, I think, as well. But also just the fit of the Juicy tracksuit now is a little bit different than it was before. And as for more recent collaborations, at Paris a luxury faux fur company, collaborated with Juicy, and they actually launched the first ever faux fur tracksuit collection. Another example is Kappa, which launched their own collection starring influencer Sophia Richie, and it was seen being worn by musician Iggy Azalea and Saweetie in this iconic cameo featuring the Juice Queen herself, Kim Kardashian. She also launched her own velour collection for her brand Skims 2, which was released again in 2020. And aside from the Kardashians, you can also see influencers like model Arina Shayet, for example, rocking the tracksuit. And she did so with a sophisticated twist by incorporating a cool pair of boots. And as Kim described, it's the perfect blend of 2000s nostalgia and present-day loungewear, referring to the velour tracksuit. And it does seem like a Juicy comeback is possibly on the rise, especially considering, again, the state of the world, people are staying in, and loungewear as a whole has become extremely popular going into the 2020s. So it makes sense that perhaps Juicy has an opportunity to really make a strong comeback given the climate and given the direction that fashion is going in as a result. Danny Pellegrino, Everything Iconic podcaster, has this to say about Juicy. The moment we see or touch the fabric of Juicy, we are instantly reminded of the early aughts. And although the country certainly went through difficult times back then, we tend to associate the Juicy Couture brand with the good and simply forget the rest. And this, of course, aligns absolutely perfectly with the reemergence of Y2K fashion taking over platforms like TikTok and Instagram. In the upcoming months, it'll be really interesting to see whether Juicy does make a full comeback, and I'm unsure about where the trend is going myself. In my view, I feel like the velour tracksuit probably will become even more popular, especially once summer ends and we go into fall and people are looking to buy two-piece sets that provide them with a bit more warmth to wear around the house. And yeah, like I definitely think we're gonna see brands continuing to come out with collections that are focused on velour, like Kim Kardashian did with her Skims brand. But I'm a little bit on the rocks about whether Juicy specifically as a brand is going to make a full comeback. I think we might see another collab or two with Juicy or with Paris Hilton, who's the poster child of Juicy anyway. That I'm a little bit more certain on, but whether Juicy itself as a brand is going to reestablish itself the way it did in the early and mid 2000s, honestly, I'm not convinced, at least not yet, but who knows, you know? Again, going back to what I talked about before, trends are cycling so fast nowadays, it really only takes one picture to go viral or one video to go viral sometimes for something to completely blow up as a trend, and that could totally happen with Juicy. But I do think one thing is certain and will not be forgotten, and that is the influence of Paris Hilton when it comes to the Juicy tracksuit. In my view, she was really the first one that made tracksuits look luxurious in a way that I don't think tracksuits have ever really been seen as before. So I really think she was, you know, the major influence when it came to that, along with, of course, other celebrities as well. But I think as long as Juicy is relevant and around, Paris Hilton is always going to be associated with Juicy. It's like those two go together like peanut butter and jelly. But yeah, that is pretty much all I have for you guys. If you made it this far, once again, thank you so much for watching. And I also wanted to thank all my new subscribers. I am so thankful for you guys, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please feel free to like, subscribe, and of course leave a comment below letting me know what other videos you would like to see. And yeah, thank you so much. I will see you guys next week, okay? Bye!